Often I hear I miss the old beast, the fun one, the cheerful one, as playful and bounding as a kitten. Well, maybe he is still hidden somewhere inside me. He's certainly hidden somewhere on Cerebro, but his time is past. If we're going to survive, we need a bastard in charge. I'm that bastard. Hello and welcome back to WTF Comics, the show where we talk about all plot lines and characters and ask the ever-important question, what the fuck? Today we're talking about the original Beastie Boy, Hank McCoy's many war crimes. That's a joke, we only have time for one. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about who Beast is, because if you only know him as the sentient wiki quote from the adaptations...
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy.
Now that's Shakespeare.
It might surprise you to learn that in the comics, he's less Kelsey Grammer in Last Stand and more just Kelsey Grammer. In fact, he's recently gone so fully supervillain that he lived in a secret lair that doubled as a kaiju. Secret, obviously, being an honorary term. But when did this all start? Well, the short answer is in Ben Percy's X-Force from 2019. But the long answer is... he's kinda always been a dick. I mean, we're talking about a man who was in the Illuminati, pretended to be gay for clout, and eats shrimp like Dennis Quaid in The Substance. You know how annoying you have to be to piss off Uatu? The man's literally seen everything. The only time he was remotely likable was in the early 80s when he got turned into an idiot. Because at least then, he didn't see himself as some sort of martyred genius. Oh, woe is me. I'm so much smarter than everybody else, so only I can make the truly hard decisions and live with the consequences. Buddy, you like to play God and mope afterwards. It's not that complex. And we get our first real look at this in the early 1990s when he meets a woman named Threnody. Currently homeless and struggling to control her powers, she runs into the X-Men, whose favorite hobby is training people and who do not pay rent. They hand deliver her to one of their greatest enemies. Yeah, turns out a side effect of Threnody's power is being able to detect who is infected with the legacy virus, a horrible disease affecting the mutant population. Think AIDS, but not literally, because mutants can't get that apparently. And Beast is far too ethical to, study her in a way that would render a cure. But you know who's not ethical? Mr. Sinister. And luckily, Beast's objections end just shy of gift wrapping. And I know what you're thinking, that already seems pretty bad. But don't forget, he mopes after, so... got some humanity there. This is the seed that grows into the kaiju because over the next few decades, Beast is willing to do more and more in pursuit of the greater good, like blow up universes with the Illuminati or work with his own evil variant, Dark Beast, who, fun fact, is from the Age of Apocalypse reality, a world without Charles Xavier. And that's it. Apparently, that's all that was keeping him from going full supervillain just from jump. And somehow the worst, when Cyclops got a bit too based, he went back in time to get his own teenage self and the rest of the original X-Men and brought them to the present. And listen, who am I to judge the universal desire to one-up someone you went to high school with? But perhaps it's not worth breaking the laws of nature, physics, time, and genetics. Okay, not all of that is this one specific example, but it is the straw that breaks the camel's back and gets the X-Men to finally hold an intervention for him in 2014. And since then, he's been on the straight and narrow, right? No, we haven't gotten to the war crimes yet. During the Krakoan era, when all of mutant kind came together to form their own nation, he decided they needed their own version of the CIA, which is bad. That's a bad thing to want to emulate. But to be fair, mutant nations do have a bad track record with continuing to exist, and humans did kill Xavier almost immediately. He got better because it's a comic book, but still, maybe having some sort of security apparatus wasn't the worst idea. After all, not getting blown up by humanity is sort of Krakoa's #1 priority. Spoiler alert! Doesn't work. But they give it a real good shot, even trying to buy peace right out the gate. Using the flowers that grow naturally on Krakoa, they're able to create 3 new miracle drugs. First, expanded human life expectancy by 5 years, the second was a universal antibiotic, and the third cured diseases of the mind. And they give them all away for free on the one condition that countries sign a treaty saying they definitely won't blow them up. Sounds like a fair trade, right? One country tries to sue them. Yes, everyone meet Terra Verde, a fictional South American country that has been riddled with economic and political unrest. You see where we're going here? Beastie loves a theme. They'd recently been united by President Kakome, who promised to shift the country's gaze towards the future by doubling down on the development of organic technology known as telefloronics. It was supposed to be the greatest discovery since nuclear power. Unfortunately, after a few years with no progress, most of the initial investors pulled out. So when Krakoa showed up, one-upping them in every way imaginable, they made for the perfect scapegoat. But unfortunately, there is no legal defense against a skill issue, so President Cocoam does eventually agree to sign the treaty. X-Force insists on accompanying Xavier to the ceremony, and good thing too, cause wouldn't you know it, some of those scientists are a bit pissed. He and the president escape with minor injuries because the scientists were actually just trying to abduct Cocoam's son. Some light royal abuse reveals that their tech has become symbiotic, merging with its host and corrupting them. If left unchecked, Beast fears it could evolve into a new form of Sentinel. And the thing is, he's probably right. But he's also lying. Krakoa has a law against taking out normal humans, so he needs them to be more machine than man in order for Jean to bust out the weed killer. In reality, he's 5 steps ahead, already aware that the leader of the scientist is the prince himself, who faked his own kidnapping in order to force his father's hand and send a message that if any country would like to reserve the right to blow up mutants, they can see Terra Verde as a fun little alternative. That's why Beast had to have him killed. See, Beast hates communication. It increases the odds that someone else might have a better idea than him, and he can't risk that. He also lies about wanting to fix the prince's whole being merged with a plant situation before returning him to his father. In reality, he reprograms the telefloronics to identify axons and dendrites as an infection, encouraging it to eat the boy's brain. He blames it on an issue with the technology itself, so Cocoam never knows his son was a traitor, hates the separatist, and is indebted to the mutants. It's not exactly moral, but still a pretty big W for the mutant CIA, and then the boy melts. We don't hear a lot from Terra Verde after that. In fact, no one really hears a lot from Terra Verde after that. The country has gone dark. All communication with the government and military has abruptly cut off, and not just that, but the news stations and periodicals are no longer broadcasting or publishing. Even by satellite, the entire country has gone completely black. When X-Force tries to go through one of their fancy portals to figure out what's going on, they find themselves blocked by nightmares beyond measure. President Cocoam, for those who were wondering, is now a lovely centerpiece for those warped in the mind. Turns out Beast's little science experiment created a new strand of the telefloronics where the plant was in charge, which then spread throughout the entire country, assimilating humans and animals alike. When Jean Grey found out about this, she notably and cathartically beat his big blue bouncy ass. But it's too late. If a plant's gonna do anything, it's gonna grow, and it's already got a taste for human flesh. So she teams up with Black Tom to upload a sort of psychic Trojan horse into their programming and just wipe them all out. Though she makes sure that Beast understands the death of this nation and the genocide of its people lies at his feet. And for a moment, he considers the true human cost of his actions. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's a learning experience. I suppose this is a good thing in that it will make us more aware and prepared as a nation ourselves as to how things could go wrong. Yes, it's absolutely a good thing. I might have made a minor miscalculation, but it will ultimately benefit us. Sure, bud, but to be fair, genocide was the wrong term, because the people of Terra Verde didn't actually die. Beast just turned them into slaves. Okay, maybe that's a harsh term. You can call it slavery, colonialization, a banana republic, but what matters is all Jean actually managed to do was wrestle control away from the plants. But hey, somebody's gotta be in charge. Why not colonizer monster? Plus, Terra Verde is now a utopia. There's no poverty, no crime, no hunger. They're taken care of, like a delicate garden. Is that not worth being a prisoner in your own body? Beast trots some of his drones up to the Hellfire Gala and has them bug all the other powerful and influential guests. His defense for this, and I'm not even kidding, is that no one would mind if God did it. And honestly, you can't fault that logic. I mean, Santa Claus too. He's always watching. Where's the outrage about that? But things go wrong, because of course they do, as Emma Frost finally clues in, orders everything to be shut down just in time for the telefloronics to get hacked. This puts the humans back in charge, and boy are they mad. They're using those fun words we talked about earlier. You used us. You programmed us as allies in your cause. You stole our whole country and identity right out from under us. You're the worst kind of colonialists. And after months of being shackled inside of my own body, I woke up in control. I might have come here as a political prisoner, but I am leaving as a revolutionary. And as much as X-Force might enjoy a slash and burn operation, they're still superheroes, and this is the kind of rhetoric it's hard to ignore. So much to Beast's chagrin, the team decides to opt out of violence and for compromise. In return for the Terra Verdians laying down their arms and not telling anyone about the little coup they did, the mutants agree to relinquish control of their country, give them $1 billion for economic and emotional damages, and disregard all pharmaceutical or technological copyrights that relate to the telefloric technology that Terra Verde is currently developing. And their vote on recognizing the treaty is gonna be a firm no. And if you think any of that made Beast realize just how far he'd fallen, then you've not been paying attention. He defends himself that night to Emma Frost, saying that mind-controlling a country is no different than bringing life to an otherwise dead planet. He says, and stop me if you heard this before, that he'll be the bastard, he'll take the blame, he'll earn the hate, if it's what saves them from annihilation. Spoiler alert, it won't, but it's not really about that, because this is not the first bad thing Beast has done, and it certainly won't be the last. He goes on to justify all sorts of horrible action, including running a secret prison where he experiments on the inmates, killing Wolverine and bringing him back as a mindless assassin, and yes, the kaiju. But it's not to protect mutant kind, it's because he thinks he's smarter than everyone, which makes it very easy to stop caring about anyone. By the end, he surrounds himself with clones because the only person whose input matters is his own. X-Force only manages to defeat him thanks to the help of a clone whose memories only go up to the early 80s. He's made from an old Cerebro backup and probably acts a lot more like the Beast you expected when you started this video. But the reason they had to go that far back is because Beast did not start spiraling downwards in 2019. He's been slipping down that slope for over 3 decades. And the fact it was even that recent's a marvel. It's just a fundamental flaw in his character and the way he sees the world. So the question is, how long until this Beast starts showing signs? But that's a question for the future. Right now, all I have to say is, Beast, what the fuck?